Hey YouTube and the YTPC, what's happening today? Hope everybody's having a great, wonderful day, and hope everybody got something good going for them. But anyways, just bringing up the live chat. I don't say if anybody has anything to say about what the subject matter is, feel free to jump in and give a few words and everything. But I had experienced something last night that I never stopped to think about. Just one of those things that just happen. And kind of kind of blew my mind a little bit. And it has to do with the title of this video. I will say I'm doing this live feed and dedicating this video to a person that really the title does pertain to, and they out there know who they is. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure if they see the live stream going now, they at least chime in a little bit or view a little bit, just to see what I'm gonna say. And also, part of this is also an apology to that person. And, because, one thing that a person needs to realize, whether you're young or old, is if you're in the wrong about something and you know you're in the wrong, but yet you don't do nothing about the wrong, then you really should stand up and say something. Take ownership of the mistake that you made. Now, some days that's easier said than done, and other days it's not even a blink of an eye, just depending on what the situation at that particular point in time. But, anyways, to this person, I'd like to say, I love you, and I know deep down you know that I know that you love me, and I do apologize for the non intentional lie, and I hope that you can find it in your heart and your soul and your mind to forgive me. And I want you to know, and the rest of the world to know, out there in the world of the YouTube community, and those in the YTPC, to know that I love this person very much with all my heart, and I wouldn't hurt them for the world. And to the person in which I'm directing this apology to, I love you and I hope you can forgive me and that maybe things can heal. Hopefully, eventually. And I hope that there's no distrust in between us. But if there is, then I understand that things take a while to earn back. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to get to non intentional lies. And you're probably sitting there thinking, what's he talking about? Well, non intentional lies are things that you may have said prior or forgot that you have said about one thing or another and then went and done another thing. And I don't know how many people out there can relate to this, but I had said and vowed something, and then it was discovered that I went back on that vow, but it was before I'd made that vow or that promise. And so, not only did it look like a bull-faced lie, but it didn't really make me look real incredible. And the crazy thing is on account of the way my mind is, I forgot it was even where I forgot this thing had happened or been said. And what went on was, me and somebody had gotten into an argument. I didn't think that they would talk to me no more or anything, so I just kind of nonchalantly thought I was talking to somebody. But afterwards, I had said some things, and then I forgot all about this one thing. Well, this one thing all of a sudden popped up, and there you have it. It was incriminating, and it was horrible, and it was wrong of me, but it was not intentional. It's like, you make a promise to somebody, and that person, is counting on you to keep that promise, but then say something had come up. Well, you can't keep the promise anymore. Well, that's a non intentional issue right there. A non intentional lie. Or you forget that you've said something, say you made plans or whatever, and say you forgot about what it was or what happened. Well, then, bam, something pops up, and all of a sudden, in my case, I just forget to write things down, or I don't care to look about things, and just like what happened in the situation, and things got misconstrued. But at the same time, you gotta look at the feelings involved and people involved with such things when things like that occur. And I understand why this person got upset, got mad, and angry because I am guilty of doing the same exact thing. And I hate that part about myself. I really do because with feelings of either anxiety, jealousy, all the horrible stuff, that can turn a person horribly wrong. I hate that about myself, but it happens. But then sometimes you gotta slow down and stop and think about why is this happening? Well, it's because you care about that person or you care about the situation that, or plans that got broken and you're gonna be it's going to be a little devastating. It's going to be a little heartbreaking. It's going to be a shocker, a blow to the mind. And in this particular situation, it's almost like I could look into a mirror the way this person had reacted to what they had found and found that I had done that I had not intentionally really meant to do, but it just happened. And I wouldn't hurt this person for the world, no matter how angry they've ever made me, no matter what they've done to me. I've always forgiven them and loved them just the same. And but the way their reactions were, because there's a lot of things that led up to this, well, not a lot of things, but just one thing that just went and almost like a wildfire, man. And anyhows, sometimes it's hard to really think deep when you're on the spot, but I guess that's why I like this live stream. You can get the very best of me or the very worst of me right at the current second, current moment. I'd also like to say to the viewer that's watching this, thank you for joining me. Um, but anyways, things just happen, and not intentionally and everything. Nobody's perfect. Oh yeah, now I remember what it was I was getting at. Very same way that I saw this person act, all of a sudden it's like I could see a mirror of myself and this person's reaction. And everything they was doing, reacting wise and everything, it made me stop and think about how I am. And they were having the same reactions that I had. Matter of fact, the same sort of reactions that I had about the person, very same person, not too long ago about something. Hello, viewers. Thank you for joining me. And, anyways, seeing their reactions, it really made me feel bad, and I wish I could go back and re either not say what I had said or redo what I had said differently. And I wish to God, because this person made a very, very important observational remark. They said, well, if this one thing wasn't that important to you, then why did you leave it? They are absolutely right, but at the same time, they also know me very well enough to know that I'm an absent minded person sometimes, and they know I forget things, and they know deep down inside of themselves that I meant no wrong. No matter how angry they get at me, no matter whether they wanted to call me a dirty so and so and other things that I will not say on camera, but you can fill in the blanks. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure if the person is watching this, I'm pretty sure they're already filling in the blanks already out loud, probably. But and even talking with this person, because they kind of gave in and talked to me a little bit on the phone last night after storming out of here, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit, not one bit. But I up and told them, look, I understand why you feel this way. I'm the exact same way, and I don't blame you at all. And this is my fault. It was non-intentional. I did say it didn't mean nothing. I told them exactly what it was too, but they did make that very good observational point of, well, why'd you leave it? It wasn't important or anything else, and I absolutely didn't even think about it. I even forgot it was there. And not only that, I had nothing to hide, and when they found what they had found on the thing they had found, well, I had no fear. It didn't bother me, them looking through it, and I didn't have nothing to hide. But it does got me down. It's going to be kind of hard to focus at work tonight over it. And this person wants me to leave them alone for a little while, and I understand that. It's hard, but I understand that. I kind of went back on that a little bit, anyways, today and last night, but it's like, another thing that gets me when things happen, or like, I know that maybe I've wronged somebody or hurt somebody's feelings. I'm the type of person that's like, I don't want to let it sit there and idle. I want to attack it at the front, come hell or high water, what may or may not come. And sometimes it's hard to remember that sometimes you it's just like a piece of steel heated up in a hot furnace. You know what you want to make out of it, and you may have the shape beat in and everything to what it is you're wanting to turn that into, but you got to have the common sense to know not to just go right up and touch it, else you're going to get burnt. Well, same way with same situations with some people. Sometimes you may not mean ill intended, but because you don't let it be or it goes away, you just can't, you gotta give people time to cool off, And I have a problem with that. I don't know if it's some kind of anxiety disorder or what it is, but it just is what it is. I also know a lot of people might be saying, well, Rob, why are you bringing all this on the YouTube and everything? Well, it's because this is what I try to do for depression, to help me with depression, to help me calmly and collect my thoughts. And maybe if some young person is watching, they might be like, oh, wow, I'll learn from this guy's mistakes. Or maybe someone out there that's even older just needs a little reminder. Maybe this might be a blessing to them. But, you know, I tell you what, I'm the most perfectly imperfect person there probably is, inside and out. But that don't mean my heart's bad. That don't mean I don't have good intentions. Even though an old Bible saying, an old thing that you hear Bible people say sometimes, or religious people say sometimes, hell's paved with good intentions, you know. But nevertheless, I had good intentions in everything, being right and straightforward and upfront, and I have nothing to hide, and I ain't got nothing to hide. Just that does make me look incriminating, and if it does, well, then it's my damn fault, and no one else's but my fault. A little bit of discussion with the same person, earlier today. They said, I think it's just being your best interest just to let me alone for a little while. And I understand that. I'm horrible at obeying that, but I understand. But that's what it is. Has anyone else ever been in that type of situation before? Where either you not intentionally hurt somebody's feelings or not intentionally lied, but it happened. Anybody out there got something they'd like to share, an experience or a happening, If so, feel free and leave a here chat about it live, or if you like, put something in the comment section below after the video if you like. But I know I can't be the only one out there in the world that's made those mistakes. But you want to know something interesting about a mistake? If all you young people out there listening to this, or may watch this, really pay close attention to this. It's probably, if I could give any good words of wisdom right now, this is it. A mistake is a mistake. If you don't learn from that mistake, then it will keep continuing to be a mistake. But if you learn something from that mistake, then it's no longer a mistake, but a lesson learned. It's kind of like the old saying, your parents tell you, stay away from that hot stove. Stay away from that hot stove. You'll get burnt. You get burnt. But then after a while, they sit back and they don't say nothing at all. You touch that hot stove, what's going to happen? It's going to burn you. And what do you learn from being burnt? You learn not to touch that stove. You learn that was a big mistake. And you don't touch the stove no more. And so that mistake became a lesson learned. A little bit of wisdom you can throw in your bag for life. Now, there's a lot of things that I know I could apply that to, and anybody that knows me personally would say, well, you're a hypocrite. Well, you're right. But at the same time, I could point the same finger back at that person, I bet, too. Or anybody for that matter in general. That's why nobody's perfect. But still, like mind wanders sometimes. The mind wanders. That's another thing too. I have this bad tendency to like dwell on something and not mean to dwell on it, but it just drills at my mind constantly. Absolutely constantly. That's another thing. Well, folks, that's kind of all I got about non intentional lies. And if nobody don't learn nothing at all, learn from my mistake. Let me be that example. Well, I'm gonna do something that I shouldn't do, but yeah, things happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna be chooching on some of this fine stuff right here. If you ain't never tried it, I recommend it. It's mighty fine stuff. I ain't too for sure whether to say it's a vape, but I do know it is a good in between aromatic and non aromatic, and I love it. Well, folks, also I'd like to say to the YTPC, for those about to chooch, I invite you to join me and let's have a chat. For those that are new to the YTPC, that's what we call our Charlight. Stepped outside this morning and I enjoyed a good chooch out of the Cobbit of the Shire, and the day was beautiful. And just in case anybody don't know, this person that I was also talking about, she's a woman that I care a lot about. And I'll tell you a story. Well, a very well edited story, shall I say. About the first time I met this person. And boy, is it a trip. It was a day about like what it looks like today in Indiana. Sun was shining, weather, and I was at my adopted dad's house. Matter of fact, I had stayed the night there, and I can't remember what him and I were doing, but or what we was working on. I'm gonna be working on. But anyways, sitting there at his kitchen table, and him and me are shooting the breeze, and I guess his wife and some other ladies were going to get together and do whatever ladies do, when they get together. And anyways, all of a sudden I hear this knock at the door, and I look out up the window of the door, and I couldn't quite see this person, but I heard him holler, "Come in," if I remember right. And in pops her. And I'm sitting there, and like in that um movie Wayne's World, where they're like in the bar, or that club, and that chick is on stage singing, and all of a sudden you hear that song, Dream Weaver. That's the moment I was having in my head the minute I saw this woman. Well, they was a talking for a spell, and half of what my adopted dad was saying at that point in time kind of went in one ear and out the other, because my attention was focused on her. And boy, she was like a beauty queen, and she still is. She still is. Sometimes she don't think she's beautiful, but I tell you what, I tell her so all the time, even when she's angry at me. So if you're watching this, you are beautiful. But I remember her sitting there, and adopted dad introduced us, properly, and I can't remember if I was flirting with her or not. Maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. I can't remember. But I know we used to talking a little bit. Well, then I get this bright idea, because I was really just wanting in my own way to say, let's hang out sometime, you know, let's get to know each other, Well, instead, the thing that I said that I did not realize meant completely something else came rolling out of my mouth, off my tongue. Just as easy as smoke. And I opened, made that woman turn blush red. I mean, her face was probably more redder than the red on this cup. But she was a grinning from ear to ear, too, but kind of hiding her face a little bit. And my adopted dad was laughing his butt off. And next thing I know, his wife and her, they got out the door, and boy, I don't think she could have got out that door any quicker. You thought somebody lit a fire underneath her butt. Next thing I know, when that door shuts and they get out of the driveway and down the road, my adopted dad looks at me and says, "Do you realize what you just said?" And I mean, he was stern about it, very stern. I thought he was going to reach over across the table and smack me. That's just how stern that man was. And I'm just standing there like, no, what did I do wrong? And He said, "You honestly don't got a clue what it is you just told her, do you?" I said, "No, I absolutely do not." Well, I ain't going to really say what it was he told me bluntly, but I tell you what, it's not something you'd speak about in church. And I did not realize that. And when he told me about that, I felt so embarrassed and I felt so bad that just so happened we went to the McDonald's. Yeah, we went to the McDonald's and anyways, long behold, guess who was sitting there in the McDonald's with a bunch of other women and saw me walk in and had decided, well, she was sitting there. And when she seen me, I noticed she kind of put her head down. And I started feeling about this small or smaller because I'd realized it was brought to my attention what it was I'd said really meant something else. So, me and Dad get our food and we get set down at the table. And at first, I was in a little bit of no because I didn't think that was her. I thought it was just somebody who looked like her because, I didn't want to make a mistake of persons. But then my adopted dad looked over at me and he said, "Well, guess who's sitting over there, Rob?" And I sat there and I said, "Who?" And he said, "You mean to tell me that you sat crossed or from that woman and you said what you said and you can't recognize her now?" And I looked up over. I was like, "You're right, man." He goes, "Yep." He goes, "Well, you thinking now?" I said, "I'm thinking I'm going to get up and do something real quick and I'll be right back." And he said, "You better think twice before doing that. You never know what might happen." And I said, "I don't care. I gotta make it right." So I up and walked over there nonchalantly, fingers and toes crossed, and I was expecting the worst. I walked up to her and I said howdy, and she goes hi, and I said, "I'd like to apologize to you if you don't mind about what I said earlier. I did not mean for that to come out like that, nor did I realize what I had said. That is what it meant." And I said, "I apologize and I'm very sorry." And I cannot remember the rest of what I said after that, but she smiled and kept her head down. And in some ways, I wish she was right here to tell you the other side of the story. But anyways, about give or take 2, 3 weeks later, I was working at the Walmart, and I think I got this packed too tight. But anyways, I up and saw her at the Walmart, and I said, "Hey." She kind of stopped, said, "Hey," and I go, "How you doing?" She goes, "I'm doing pretty good." And she goes, "How about you?" I said, I'm doing pretty good too." And I said, "I kind of got a question to ask you." And she kind of smiled and she was like, "What?" I said, "Well, I'm still sorry about the other day at Dad's." And I said, "And I was wondering if you felt like it, if you wanted to, if by chance, if we could trade numbers, if I could have your number." And I can't quite remember precisely how all that went down, but she gave me her number. Now, can't remember how long it took before I said anything to her or anything. Or maybe it was, or maybe I invited her maybe to come over for coffee. Maybe that's what it was for coffee sometime, you know. Maybe that's what struck it off. And I think I've seen her quite a few times before this, but I think this is the time that I actually grew a pair and talked to her, you know, kind of. And anyways, I remember it was on a Super Bowl Sunday. I can't remember how far back, but it was either 2008 or 2009, one of the 2 years. And I up and called her up out of the blue, called her up, and I was being goofy. Of course, I was a little buzzed. I've been drinking, and I pretended I was going through a drive-through ordering some weird, crazy stuff. Next thing I know, she called me back and says, "You're hungry, aren't you?" But then it all went downhill from there, and this is what it is today. And I tell you what, though, as crazy as some things are, and as crazy as things can get, I don't think I'd change anything because some of the things that's happened made me the better person I am today, and some things that happened was probably a mutual thing, and so you know, it also goes back to nobody's perfect at all, not one single bit. I can see I bored the audience, and I apologize, but you know, I just felt like I had to get that out of me, you know? And you know, I don't believe that all that happened on accident neither. And I don't believe that, I mean, when I'm hurting inside sometimes, I kind of say, well, it's just a fluke. Never should have happened and stuff. But, it did happen. I hate it when I move things. Remember where I stuck them. I hate that. But, anyways, you know, as I just watching today, I was watching, um, Rune Dog's cancer update and everything. And I was watching Pipe Cat's video he put out today. But anyhow, I open I was watching their videos today, and it brought a little joy to my heart, and also I was watching the Great Bailey channel too, and the things that all these folks have said, it brought a little joy to my heart and made me forget a little bit about my troubles. So I like to say to Mr. George Bruno and Mr. Pipe Cat and Rune Dog, I like to say thank you folks for sharing your time on the YTPC and on the YouTube world and the YouTube community as well, and for sharing your wisdom and for sharing your thoughts and for sharing your stories. And also for all the other folks out there, that share stuff about yourself. It's wonderful. But it's a wonderful thing, and the YTPC is a beautiful community, and if there's anybody out there that's still a lurker and not making videos, I'd like to invite you to make a video, be a part of the YTPC, and sure would love to meet y'all. And also too, for anybody that's went to the Chicago Pipe Show and made videos, I'd like to say thank you to all of you. I know Mr. Justin Taylor had made one, and Old Berg, man, he made a few. I'd like to say thank you to you guys. Because I wish I had the money to go to that. I really do. But I have not the way or anything. But one of these days, man. One of these days. And just the same for the pipe meetup there in Tennessee. One of these days, I want to make it to that too. One of these days. I was joking with the same friend I was talking about. I sent her a video clip of Old Berg's video he made, and I put in the caption. I said, "Look, it's the Woodstock of the YTPC." Oh boy. Oh. Well, folks, I think maybe I'll let this video end where it is at now. I like to say, older people, younger people, later in life people, learn from my mistake and don't make the same mistake. And don't just keep making a mistake, but turn that mistake into a lesson learned. And I think we all, at certain times in our lives, forget these things. Some are more easier forgotten than some, but some not so much as others. I like to thank each and every single one of you every time I post a video, or those that have rewatched any of my video content. I like to say thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your busy life and for taking time to just say, hey, this guy's worth watching. A little old me, no name, nobody from nowhere. Take your time for watching me. I thank you. Humbly thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I thank you all for being there for me. And I thank you all for that made a get well or get home soon VR for mama. And if there's anybody that's still interested in wanting to make a get well soon or a get home or get well VR for mama, you're more than welcome to. I've been making a list for mom and showing them to her every time someone makes a new video. Just gives her a little encouragement. I think after she gets out of the rehab and gets a little settled down at home, I think she's going to want to do a Mama Me video and talk to all the fans out there that are fans of hers. And I like to say thank you all for that too, because that really helps my mom out. It gives her strength, gives her encouragement, and it makes her day, and it's like one of the world to her, you know. But anyhows, until next time, folks. Wherever you're at in this world, wherever you may be, may God bless. And to the person whose feelings I hurt non intentionally and lied to non intentionally, I love you, good looking. You know who you are. Till next time, thank you.